is up? GoodMicWork back at you with a second channel exclusive. I guess you could call this an exclusive. It's sort of an exclusive. I'm always trying to think of stuff to put on this channel, and I try to add content to it as much as I can. Right now, my GoodMicWork Clips segment is what I most frequently upload on this channel, and that is just little 2 to 5 minute clips of all of my past commentaries that you can find on my main YouTube channel. But this time, instead of giving you a small clip, I'm going to give you a large one. What I figured I would do is I would make a compilation of every commentary I did over WrestleMania 32 weekend. On Friday night, immediately following NXT Dallas, I came up and reviewed the show on my main channel. On Saturday night, immediately following the WWE 2016 Hall of Fame, I came up and reviewed that show as well on my main channel. And of course, Sunday night after WrestleMania 32, I did the same thing, as well as Monday night, the post-WrestleMania Monday Night Raw. Reviewed them all individually. They are all up on my main YouTube channel. Please, please, please subscribe to that. There's a link right on the screen if you click the GoodMicWork Commentaries logo. There's a link in the description on my second channel's homepage. There's a link there. There are links everywhere. Bottom line is subscribe. My main channel, that's where all the good stuff is. As far as this channel goes, I usually just have fun with it. Post little clips and any other wrestling related things that I can think of I put up here from time to time, but all of my main content is over on that main YouTube channel, so this will act as just another advertisement for that, which is pretty much the purpose of my GoodMicWork Clips segments that I do as well. Also, don't forget I've got a website, GoodMicWorkCommentaries.com. All of my content can be found over there. My commentaries are available in podcast form. You can download them. There's merchandise and t-shirts available over there, all sorts of shit. So please check out GoodMicWorkCommentaries.com. Also follow me on Twitter and like me on Facebook. And all of my main commentaries can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. So let me get you right in to this long compilation of WrestleMania 32 weekend. These are my organic, real thoughts and comments. Most of these commentaries were done mere minutes after these shows ended. I'm going to start off with my review of NXT Dallas, then we'll move right into the WWE Hall of Fame, then we'll move into WrestleMania 32 itself, and then after that, we will close with the post-WrestleMania Monday Night Raw. So it's all of my thoughts on WrestleMania 32 weekend, all in one place. It was a very fun weekend for me. I made plans to be home for just about everything. I interacted with all of my fans and all of you, and we all experienced WrestleMania 32 together. Say what you want about the show. Some of us feel like maybe the show lacked a little bit, could have been a little bit better, and wasn't the greatest WrestleMania we've ever seen, but at the end of the day, it's still WrestleMania. We all had a good time, and it was a great experience and a great few days, and I, for one, cannot wait till next year at WrestleMania 33 in Orlando. So without further ado, I will get right into my NXT Dallas review. I don't expect this video to get a huge amount of views or anything like that. This is just my second channel, and not too many people are aware of it or see some of the stuff I put on here. The 4 videos that you're about to listen to have a combined total of about 170,000 views as of April 8th, 2016. So if you want to check them out individually, they will be up on my main channel. Plus, as I get into each show here, I will provide a link on the screen and in the description to the actual episode that all of these comments can be found on. So keep a lookout for that too on the screen as you go through here. Leave me all your thoughts on WrestleMania 32 weekend, what you liked and did not like about it. And I hope you enjoy this random upload on GoodMicWork's second. So let's begin with my review of NXT TakeOver Dallas, which was uploaded on April 2nd, 2016. What is up? A very, very exhausted GoodMicWork back at you extremely late on Friday night. It's actually early Saturday morning. Unfortunately, I was not home to watch NXT Dallas live. I'm so bummed out. It looked like it was a ton of fun on social media. I kept glancing at my phone, checking out Twitter to find out what people were saying about the show, and a lot of you were shitting your pants, reacting to some of the matches that took place on this show. I could not wait to get home and watch it. I didn't even get home until 2 hours after the show ended, and then just spent the last 2 hours watching the show from start to finish, fast forwarding through very little of it. I watched pretty much the whole thing, and man, let me just tell you, WWE's got a tough act to follow come Sunday for WrestleMania, because this show was great. Let me just start off by commending NXT for what a great job they do putting on these shows. I love what they do because at the end of the shows, it literally leaves you wanting more, and I've always said during the Attitude Era, during the Monday Night Wars, when wrestling was at its hottest time in the late 90s and early 2000s, what was great about those shows is when Raw would end, you couldn't wait until the next week's episode. That sure as hell isn't the case now. When Raw is over today, we're like, fuck, thank God it's finally over. The misery can end. And what NXT does so much better is it's not overdrawn out and it's not too long. I love the fact that it's 2 hours. It's more concentrated. You don't have a million different dumbass backstage segments and promos and announcers screwing around with flashcards and stuff like that. They just get right to the point. The commentary is much better because the announcers are actually calling the matches. The overall presentation of the product to me is so enjoyable to watch, and tonight's show was no different. There was some amazing matches, and one in particular that really took all of our breath away. So all in all, I got to give this show an A+. There were a few things about it that weren't, that great, and there was one thing in particular that really got the fans' panties in a bunch, but overall, I got to give this show high marks across the board. It was such a great way to kick off, I think, WrestleMania weekend, and tomorrow night, of course, we have the Hall of Fame. I still want to try to get up here tomorrow night with a very small reaction to the Hall of Fame. I'm still not 100% sure if I'm going to do that because I have a very busy night tomorrow night. And of course, keep following me on social media, like my Facebook page, and definitely follow me on Twitter at GoodMicWork. I've been very, very chatty about WrestleMania, and I've been tweeting things pretty much every day leading up to the show. Even got a retweet from Hulk Hogan today, which was kind of cool. But anyway, let's get into this pay-per-view first, and then I'll touch on Mick Foley's appearance on Stone Cold's podcast, and of course, a few other WrestleMania rumors and some late-breaking news going on regarding the big pay-per-view on Sunday. NXT Dallas, like I said, fucking amazing. These guys and gals in NXT should be very proud. I mean, they really have the fans' respect. They have everybody's respect. They go out there and they give it their all, and they tear the house down damn near every night. And tonight's show was awesome. We opened up with a tag team title match between champions, the Revival, who I don't know too much about, but I like their style. I like their gimmick. I like the fact that they're old school. They're from my old neck of the woods. I used to live in North Carolina. They both, I think, were born and raised there. They took on the team American Alpha, who I honestly don't know anything about, but was impressed by them. I liked the match, and American Alpha scored the win and won the NXT Tag Team titles, and I like their finish, actually, too. I pretty much like the whole match. Right now, the tag team division is much more enjoyable, if you ask me, watching it in NXT than anything WWE is doing. We finally got the in-ring debut of Austin Aries was up next. He took on Baron Corbin. Now, Baron Corbin attacked him when Regal introduced Austin Aries as the latest NXT free agent signing a few weeks back, or maybe even a couple months back by now. Seems like he's been there a while, but finally has his in-ring debut tonight. Good match. Austin Aries, of course, we all know what he can do. I like this Baron Corbin guy. I think he looks great. He looks like a young Undertaker to me, so I don't know what the WWE's plans for him are. He's been in NXT for a while now, too. He seems like a guy that they would be bringing up to the main roster pretty much at any time, you would think. But really cool to see Austin Aries there. I mean, this talent roster they have there is just unbelievable, and it would get a lot better in about an hour. Match of the night, obviously, easily went to Nakamura and Sami Zayn. That was some beautiful wrestling right there. A lot of people were tweeting me, wait till you get home and see this match, you are going to die. I was excited as hell for it. I cracked open an IPA and just sat back and enjoyed. And it was extremely entertaining. Everything that you guys told me it would be, it was. So happy Shinsuke Nakamura is in the WWE now. And when he first signed, or was rumored to sign, I took it upon myself to watch a few of his matches because I wasn't that familiar with him. I think I had heard of him and maybe seen him once or twice, but really didn't know too much about the guy. So I was impressed with what I saw, and I thought he could do some really fun things in NXT. And tonight's match was one hell of a debut for that guy. And it was cool for Sami Zayn, too, because he's on the main roster now, and you got to think that this is going to be the end for him in NXT. He's probably not going to be working too many more shows there, so for him to go out on his back like that and make his way up to the main roster on the WWE, I thought was a perfect way to go out. They're replacing his spot on the roster with somebody that's equally as good as him. And the handshake at the end, I was fine with it. It was a really hard-fought, hard-hitting match with a little bit of blood in this thing, too, with Nakamura's nose bleeding. It was brutal at times, and man, he can lay some kicks in. I would hate to be on the receiving end of one of those. That looks extremely unpleasant. I'm so glad Triple H goes after this international talent like this. I mean, this is never something you would see Vince McMahon doing back in the day. This NXT is a true gem, and it's the one bright spot in the giant turd that is the WWE right now. New NXT Women's Champion as well, Asuka defeated Bayley. Now, that was kind of expected, but I loved the crowd reaction when she finally, when Bayley finally passed out and the referee called for the bell. The crowd, like, oohed the way they did when Undertaker lost the streak to Brock Lesnar. So it was kind of a very eerie finish. I like Asuka a lot. I think she's badass and crazy and awesome, and she looks like she would be a freak in the sack. And Bayley, of course, everybody loves her. She is so beloved by everybody, which surprises me. I mean, the girl, she's cute as a button, and she can work, which is so wonderful to see. And she's got a great attitude, and I would never say anything bad about Bayley at all. But it amazes me that someone as similar to John Cena as she is so beloved by everybody that boos the shit out of John Cena. But anyway, I love the support she gets. I'm guessing now she'll probably get a rematch. And then maybe fall short to that, and then hopefully come up to the main roster, because there was some big news that broke in the last day or two about the WWE's Divas division. They are finally going to retire the word or the term diva, apparently, and go back to calling the title the women's title, and that's the way it should be. If they actually do that, that's going to be really nice. I've always thought that dumb-looking Divas butterfly belt bullshit that they do is an insult to women, and it's an insult to wrestling fans. And now that the WWE has finally got their shit together with their women's division, it needs to be treated with respect. And if this story is true, I could not be more happy. So having Bayley come up to the main roster now with this whole new identity of the women's division seems necessary, and I can't wait for her to get there. And how about the reaction for Bobby Roode? Oh man, I love the way they showed him in the crowd right before the main event. I think they were showing the video package of Balor and Joe. The lights were out, and then they came back on, and that crowd let out the most chilling pop I think I've heard in a long time. That was great. Everybody knows who Bobby Roode is. Great to see him there. Like I said earlier, this talent, unbelievable. Why would anybody even go to TNA at this point? I mean, NXT is the place to be. I wouldn't be surprised if Eric Young is right behind him. And, you know, when you just look on paper, when you just start listing some of this young international talent that the WWE has signed in the last couple of years, you know, under Triple H's, you know, vision kind of thing, it's a who's who. And, of course, the main event, very good, but not without controversy. Finn Balor defending the NXT title against Samoa Joe. A lot of people thought Finn Balor might drop the belt, and his Bullet Club buddies from Japan might be making an appearance in this match. That did not happen. Biggest thing to happen, though, was right off the bat, Samoa Joe got cut badly right around his eye. I don't know if it was above his eye or below his eye, but he was bleeding very, very badly, and of course WWE freaks out. You had doctors down there, they had towels, they kept trying to go up to him and wipe the blood off his face. A couple times he shoved him away. The fans were pissed off. We even got a fuck PG chant, which that just gave me goosebumps. I was like, hell yes, crowd. You talk about a chant that's necessary and awesome all at the same time. That was the perfect chant. Fuck PG is right. Give me a break. Will you guys fucking relax? Samoa Joe is not dying. He's bled a hell of a lot worse than this before. I don't care if your advertisers don't like it. I don't care if you try not to have blood. The best you can do is try not to have blood. You can't just not have it. That's impossible. It's fucking wrestling, and sometimes you're going to get cut open or you're going to get busted open hard way. And the fact that they go so crazy and they freak out and they're like in panic mode if somebody just starts bleeding a little bit is goddamn ridiculous. I think your advertisers will understand that this is a combat form of entertainment. Accidents are going to happen. The best you can do is just tell your people that you're going to try not to have any blood, or you're never going to bleed on purpose. But that doesn't mean you're not going to see blood. So sometimes WWE lets it fly or lets it slide with Triple H or Brock Lesnar or guys like that. For some reason they can bleed, but the minute Samoa Joe gets busted open, you know, they start losing their minds over it. If they just would have kept their asses out of it, it could have really helped the match, because it killed the momentum and it was pissing the fans off, and it was just fucking stupid. It's on their own WWE network. It's not like this is on the USA network at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. This is late evening on a Friday night on the internet. You know, what's the big deal if there's a little fucking blood? Really pisses me off, and I just wish that if they're going to be PG and they're going to try to be no blood or anti-blood, they at least don't freak out when blood accidentally happens. Don't give me that we were concerned for Joe's safety. He was fine. You would have been able to tell if the cut was bad enough to where, you know, his health or his safety was on the line, and I think Joe would know that too. Those two guys in the ring, believe it or not, WWE are professionals, and they're not going to put themselves on the line like that. They would know what to do. They'd call an audible. They would deal with it if one of them couldn't go anymore. That's their fucking job, so keep your stupid faces and your stupid towels out of these matches. End of the day, we got no interference. We got a straight-up clean victory by Finn Balor, and the finish, oh, the finish has a special place in my heart. Reminds me of Bret Hart and Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 8. Reminds me of Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin at Survivor Series 1996. Despite the fact that the WWE were idiots when Samoa Joe was bleeding, I thought the match was still good, and I'm not going to shit on it. A lot of fans didn't like it or thought it was the worst match of the night. It might have been, but still, very good match between two pros for the NXT's grand prize. And, part of me was kind of hoping Joe would win too, because I'm ready to see Balor on the main roster at some point. I thought the night after WrestleMania could be one big debut for somebody in NXT coming up to the main roster, so maybe that somebody is Samoa Joe now. I don't know. Raw could potentially look a lot different on Monday night because, of course, the Shane McMahon and Undertaker match is for control of Raw. Now, another rumor that broke a couple of days ago is that WWE might be thinking of putting this match on last. That is something I did not even take into consideration. Here I was during my WrestleMania prediction saying, you know what, WWE can't be this stupid to close out their show with Roman Reigns winning the WWE title and celebrating. They're going to sabotage their own pay-per-view, and it's going to be a complete disaster. So they're going to have to turn him heel. They have no choice but to turn him heel or to have Triple H retain. Otherwise, WrestleMania is going to be fucked. But WWE could say, you know what, let the fans boo. We just won't make the match the main event, and we'll put it in the middle of the card, and we'll let Shane and Taker be the main event. They might actually do that. That would be a big disappointment for me. I mean, no offense to Shane. Everybody loves Shane. I love Shane. But he's not even a wrestler, and now he's coming back after 7 years, and he's the boss's son, and you're going to give him the main event at WrestleMania? I mean, unless it's The Undertaker's last match, which apparently it very well could be if Shane wins, then yes, of course, Undertaker having his final encounter as the main event of a WrestleMania, hell yes. I mean, Shawn Michaels did. Undertaker definitely deserves to have that, but this match is kind of a strange setting for it. The whole thing is just weird. Shane McMahon and Undertaker, Hell in the Cell, and this Vince McMahon tie-in. I always thought the Undertaker's final match would be against an actual wrestler, somebody that he maybe has history with, or maybe a new guy or a young and up-and-comer, or another icon like Sting or something like that. So, I think WrestleMania still has a lot of unanswered questions, and now we don't even know what the main event will be. So if it does turn out to be Shane McMahon and The Undertaker in the main event, then you have to cancel my prediction of Roman Reigns turning heel, because I don't think that will happen. Roman Reigns turning heel should be a big enough thing to happen in the main event. I don't think they will do that in the middle of the card. So if Roman Reigns and Triple H do not main event, I see Roman Reigns winning the WWE title and not turning heel. That, I think, will suck, but WWE might do it. I also never mentioned the possibility of Sting interfering in this match. I talked about other guys like the Bullet Club and like Kurt Angle, but I never mentioned Sting. So if Undertaker is going to have one more match and so is Sting, these two guys could still have a chance, technically, to work together. I mean, it's a long shot, it's far-fetched, but maybe, just maybe, WWE will give us that one legendary match that we never got, and that could all be set up at WrestleMania. So there's lots of possibilities in this match, but I thought learning the fact that it might go on last was a shocker for me, and just adds that much more excitement and mystique to WrestleMania. I don't know what the hell we're going to see. Finally, before I get out of here, I did check out Mick Foley's appearance on the Stone Cold podcast that aired on the WWE Network on Thursday. I really liked it. It came live from WrestleMania Access or WrestleMania Week or whatever. They did it in front of an audience, complete with entrances and the whole deal. Nothing earth-shattering, of course, coming out of this podcast. Foley was already on Austin's podcast maybe like a month or so ago, or a few months ago. I remember listening to that. I didn't think they were going to get into too many controversial topics in this episode or really tell us anything that we didn't already know or stories we haven't already heard. A lot of it was just the same stuff, but still really entertaining. I mean, these two guys go way back. They're really, really good friends, and they had a really nice exchange, and Mick Foley did share some fun stories, most all of which I've heard before, but always nice to hear him again. He brought his daughter out, and wow, look at Noelle. I mean, I almost feel guilty being attracted to her. She is just a tall, beautiful thing. She has grown up to be quite a gorgeous woman. I could spread her on a cracker. Mick Foley should be proud. He's got a beautiful family. I can't believe that little girl in Beyond the Mat has grown up to be such a beautiful woman. But she's like 23 or 24 years old now. They're going to be doing a reality type show on the WWE Network this summer called Holy Foley. It's going to be with her and her dad. I don't know if it's going to contain more Foley family members than that, or it's going to be a Hogan Knows Best kind of thing. I'm not sure really what they're going to do. They didn't give too much information on it, but it is a new series coming to the WWE Network. And isn't Dewey like on the creative team now or something? So there's a lot of Foleys in the WWE right now. I loved hearing that he was doing DDP yoga as well. Good for him. I have been putting off ordering DDP yoga for the longest time, and I think I just need to suck it up and buy it. I've heard so many great things about it, and I'm ready to try it myself. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. That's just my thoughts in a nutshell on NXT TakeOver. Great show. Really looking forward to the Hall of Fame tomorrow night. If I do come up and give a reaction on it, I don't expect that video to be any longer than maybe 10 minutes long or whatever. But please, if you don't hear from me tomorrow night, remember to follow me on Twitter all day Sunday. I will be tweeting from sun up to sundown. I am really looking forward to WrestleMania Sunday. I have cleared my schedule, and I'm going to be wide open with some of my favorite frosty beverages in my most comfortable chair and about, 4 computers going between multiple feeds of WrestleMania and all the social media sites as well. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun day, and it is getting close. So happy WrestleMania week to everybody. I will catch you, like I said, hopefully later tonight with a Hall of Fame reaction. And if not, you will definitely hear me just a couple of hours after the WrestleMania pay-per-view itself. So you guys have a great night. Let me know what you thought of NXT Dallas and any other WrestleMania ideas, opinions, or rumors that you want to let me in on. I will talk to you in a few hours. Until then, peace. We are just hours away from WrestleMania 32. What's up, everyone? GoodMicWork back at you, as promised, with a really quick Hall of Fame reaction. I just wanted to come up and give you something as it regards to the Hall of Fame, because this is WrestleMania season, and it's a lot of fun, and I want to try to be up here to react to everything. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be home to see the show live, as I was also not able to be home to see NXT Dallas live last night, so I had to catch the show late and react to it on Twitter very late. And here we are now, 2 o'clock in the morning on WrestleMania Sunday, and I'm just now getting up a reaction to this show. I gotta say, this was one of the most entertaining Hall of Fames I have ever seen. On paper, it was very, very good class, but I don't know if it would really... I wouldn't call it one of the best they've ever had, but still solid. So, on paper, I felt like maybe it was a tiny bit weak, but boy, did they make up for that in the entertainment factor. There was some legendary things taking place and some great speeches and some great moments from this Hall of Fame. I found myself enjoying myself throughout pretty much the whole show. I watched almost all of it. I skipped and fast-forwarded through very little of it. I like when Jerry Lawler always says it's his favorite night of the year. It might be mine as well, because I really enjoy, a lot of these speeches, because I remember I grew up to a lot of these legends that get inducted into the Hall of Fame, and tonight I was really excited to see guys like the Freebirds and Stan Hansen. Those were some of the speeches and the inductions I was looking the most forward to. I had no idea it was going to be as entertaining as it was. Just to start skimming through a little bit of what we saw, Godfather was the first one to be inducted. He was inducted by JBL and Ron Simmons, the APA. They were pretty funny. I love Bradshaw and Ron Simmons' chemistry. Those guys are lifelong friends, as they are with Charles Wright, who they inducted as the Godfather. Didn't mention anything about Papa Shango or anything else he did. It was all about the Godfather character and gimmick and all that. Pretty funny and pretty entertaining. I've always been a big fan of Charles Wright. I always thought he was a pretty cool, laid-back, chill, well-spoken individual. I've always had a lot of respect for him, and he's always been known as one of the nicest guys in the business. So much deserved and much earned Hall of Fame induction. They had Vader induct Stan Hansen, which I was kind of hoping it would be Vader. It was good to see him. The big guy looked great. I even tweeted about how good he looked, and Vader retweeted me earlier on tonight. But I was really looking forward to this particular induction because I'm a huge Stan Hansen fan, always have been. I mean, I remember him from the 80s. One of the eeriest things on the whole Hall of Fame when they were showing the Stan Hansen, video package before they inducted him, and Paul Heyman said something that almost knocked me to the floor because I've had the exact same thought in my head. He was like, when I was a kid, I wasn't scared of the Boogeyman or fucking Freddy or Jason. I was scared of Stan Hansen, and I was always terrified of him as a young person as well. He was mean and nasty and scary, and I remember as a little kid being frightened that people like this exist out there in that world. And I've always just been a huge fan of his career, so I was really excited to see him go into the WWE Hall of Fame, and his speech was great. I loved all of his shout-outs, the way he talked about his career, all the people that helped him along the way, the friends that he made, the matches he had, the tag team partners and opponents that he had. Shout-outs ranged from everywhere from Antonio Inoki and Giant Baba to Rick Martel. It was a great speech, and I was thinking to myself that was as good as it was going to get, and boy, did that not even come close. Jacqueline was up next. I loved seeing her go in, of course. Miss Texas, who got her start right there in Dallas. The Dudley Boys inducted her. They go way back with her. They're close friends of hers, and they did a really good job. Bubba is so articulate. I love listening to him speak. He's brilliant. And how about the line? That might be the quote of the night when Devon started talking, and Bubba's like, no. You're just supposed to stand there and say, testify. That was fucking great. The crowd popped for that, too. Jacqueline's speech was really good. It was cool to see all of her family there. She shouted out all the ladies from that time period, the Trishas, the Litas, Molly Hollies, Sable, Victoria, Terry Runnels, everybody. Her speech was really nothing I guess you would call exciting, but it was definitely something that put a smile on my face. So congrats to Jacqueline. And oh man, the induction of the night easily has got to go to the fabulous Freebirds. I had no idea that I was going to enjoy this as much as I did. The New Day, of course, inducted them because they're the current modern-day three-man team, and they're WWE Tag Team Champions, and they're super over right now, so I guess they were a fitting and fun choice to induct the fabulous Freebirds, so I had really no problem with that because I knew they were going to be entertaining, and they were. They had a good time out there, they mixed in just the right amount of comedy, and then when they announced them to come out, I mean, can you believe that entrance? They blasted Leonard Skinner over the loudspeakers, and out came the two surviving members of the Freebirds, Hayes and Jimmy Garvin, and they danced their fucking asses off. That was incredible. I mean, they just went on and on and on to where they were completely out of breath. Jimmy could barely talk when they first started the speech, and then the speech went on forever, but a good forever. I watched every single minute and loved every second of it. It was long as shit. It had different phases. They brought out several special guests. I mean, it was amazing, the stories they told. I mean, Michael Hayes, I've always said, he's never been one of my favorite people because I've just never heard too many flattering stories about the guy. I've heard that he's brilliant and great at his job, and he's definitely responsible for a lot of the success during the Attitude Era and, you know, over the last 20 years of the WWE. He's been there since 95, I think, so it's been like 21 years since he's been employed there. So the guy's great at what he does, and he's a brilliant wrestling mind. However, he's just kind of a fuck-up. He's always had problems and shit, and he's done embarrassing things. And, you know, there's always the talk of him being a racist, too. It's like the same thing with Hulk Hogan. I've never really considered Michael Hayes a racist. I just consider him, you know, inappropriate at times. Sometimes I think he just shoots off at the mouth and he doesn't think before he speaks. And it's like with Hogan. I don't know why he says shit like that or uses language the way he does. It makes no sense, but at the end of the day, I don't really truly feel like he hates African Americans. And Michael Hayes is the same way. He has a long history with a lot of African-American wrestlers who he's teamed with, who he's feuded against over the years. You know, there's no reason to think this guy would have a racist bone in his body, but those accusations have come up in the past about the guy. On top of that, he's had problems with alcohol and drugs and all of that and been in trouble with the WWE a few times, and I cannot believe he brought up the story of almost peeing on Linda McMahon, which I think was the plane ride from hell. I've heard the story a couple of times. I always thought maybe it was a myth. I think X-Pac was one of the first people I heard say it in a shoot interview, saying, oh yeah, he was so wasted that he was trying to take a piss. He thought he was in the bathroom, but he was standing in front of Linda McMahon and trying to pull his pants down to take a piss on her. The fact that Michael Hayes owned up to that and mentioned it in his Hall of Fame speech, oh my God, my jaw dropped. I spit out the beer that I was drinking. And that's where I will commend Michael Hayes, because for all of his problems, he's always owned up to it. And he had a plethora of shout-outs tonight, all the people that helped him along the way, but specifically mentioned the McMahons, how they gave him chance after chance because they knew he was valuable to the company, and they felt like if they could get his ass straight and clean, he's a big asset to the WWE. So they really helped him out and helped him get his life on track. He seems to be doing well now. I even watched his interview, Legends with JBL on the WWE Network a couple of days ago, and I was happy with what I saw and with what I heard from Michael Hayes. And the Freebirds induction going into the Hall of Fame is long overdue. I'm glad they waited, though, because this was a legendary induction speech, plus it took place in Dallas. No better city for the Freebirds to go in than in Dallas. They even brought out the sons of Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts and let both of them speak. They brought out Kevin Von Erich, the surviving member of the Von Erich family, who, of course, you know, were printing money in their feud with the Freebirds back in the day. I really enjoyed what he had to say. Sometimes I feel like these wrestlers get caught up in the moment and they start thinking it's about them. I almost felt like, as much as I liked everything Kevin Von Erich said, except for the new gay part. Did he really say that? I think he did. He said, these new gay guys. So I don't know what the hell is on his mind. That was pretty funny, but still a very emotional and heartfelt speech by Kevin Von Erich, but I felt like he was kind of getting lost there, and I was like, all right, you know, don't forget this is about the Freebirds, not about you. Ric Flair kind of had the same problem later on when he was talking to Sting, the way he fumbled up his announcement of Sting coming out. But I loved the incredible overall ride that the Freebirds induction speech was. I mean, WWE gave them so much time. How much time did it go? I tried to I tried to skip or rewind something, and you know how it is on the WWE Network. It's really hard. It's my one big critique of the network is that it's really impossible to fast forward or maybe skip ahead just a little bit without completely, fucking it up. And then you can hit the little, forward 10 seconds button, but if you hit that too many times, it might fuck your browser up. But it's really hard to just move ahead a little bit. It's a lot easier on YouTube, actually, to do something like that. So every time you try to move ahead a little bit, you kind of lose track of where you were. So I don't know how long the thing actually lasted, but it felt at least like it was a half an hour. Probably longer than that, but I love the whole thing. I love the whole damn thing. And then at the end, the cherry on top, as if it couldn't get any better, Michael Hayes, they sing and perform Bad Street USA. Michael goes through the crowd. You saw everybody, Iron Sheik, Bob Backlund, Scott Hall, X-Pac, Bruno Sammartino looked scared shitless out there when that was going on. Pretty funny. So all of the camera shots of the talent was really entertaining tonight. There's a lot of pictures online, too, of the Big Show vaping his ass off. I'm assuming that's tobacco in there. I could be wrong. I have 3 different vape pens, and there is definitely not tobacco in mine, and they come in really handy for events just like that. I've even taken them to Vegas a couple of times. So I just wonder what's in there with Big Show and if it was maybe a gift from Snoop. WWE also did this legacy induction where they cut to a video package and basically just grandfathered in a bunch of legendary names, maybe without going through the entire ordeal of having a family member come in and them dedicating a whole segment to it. I inducted a lot of old-timers out there: George Hackenschmidt, Frank Gotch, Mildred Burke, Ed Strangler Lewis, Sailor Art Thomas, Lou Thesz, and Pat O'Connor. I think Lou Thesz, you can make a case for him to go in on his own in a normal way because he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Even Pat O'Connor. I remember when YouTube first came into existence, and I have a pretty decent video library of wrestling footage. I have a lot of stuff, but really my stuff doesn't go back any further than the 70s. And I remember when I realized that you can look up wrestling footage and shit on YouTube like 10 years ago, anytime I would look up matches from like the 50s or 60s, I remember searching Pat O'Connor all the time because I wanted to watch his matches. I love that stuff. I love learning about the history of the business and taking a look back so far back to those days to see, how it all came to be. Big Boss Man was up next. Really happy that Ray Traylor got into the WWE Hall of Fame. I was always a big fan of his. And it's always nice to see Slick. I was such a big fan of him in the 80s, and I'm never going to complain about seeing Slick on WWE TV. However, I just kind of wish it would have been somebody else, like Jim Cornette maybe, or somebody with maybe some NWA ties to Ray Traylor, because they made it seem like all he did was team with Akeem. Big Boss Man did a lot more in his career than just wear that silly-ass prison guard outfit, and it was almost like they were kind of just glossing over the rest of his career when he's had a pretty long and successful one, and a guy that's evolved and had a lot of different gimmicks, and he's got some history in the business that goes way beyond the WWE. So I wish they would have maybe, touched on that a little bit more. And then he had his daughters? Was it all 3 of his daughters, or was one of them his wife? I don't know. But it was probably the most uneventful induction of the night. But still, happy for Ray Traylor. Was always a fan of his. It's sad that he's gone and not with us anymore. I had pretty high hopes for Snoop Dogg's induction as well. I had a feeling he was going to be great and very, very Snoopish the way he always is, and I knew his was going to be really entertaining. They surprised us with an appearance by John Cena. John Cena was the one that they used to induct Snoop Dogg, and he's a pretty good choice. I mean, he's the poster boy of the WWE. Snoop Dogg is a major name in entertainment. It was good to see Cena out there, typical John Cena sucks chants, which is nice that those are never going to go away. Still curious if we're going to see him tonight at WrestleMania. Did a good job inducting Snoop Dogg, and his speech was hilarious. I loved his shout-outs, too. Talked about Andre the Giant, Gorilla Monsoon. Talked about growing up watching Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, and shouted out all the current and modern-day WWE wrestlers, The Undertaker and DX and Randy Orton and all those guys. So, Snoop was pretty gracious, and he took the thing seriously, which is why I think Snoop is so awesome. Talked about getting high, of course. Talking about getting high with John Cena. How cool was that? One of my bucket list wishes, which I know will never, ever be fulfilled, is to get high with Snoop Dogg one day. Love that he shouted out his cousin Sasha, talked about how he brought her to WrestleMania 24 in Florida a few years back and how she fell in love with everything and dedicated herself to becoming a women's wrestler and has turned out to be a damn good one. And I know I picked Charlotte to retain in my WrestleMania predictions, but, given the fact that Snoop went in and the way he wished her luck tonight at WrestleMania, it makes me think maybe, just maybe, Sasha could have her moment at WrestleMania. But I originally picked Charlotte, so I guess I got to stick with that. I will be 100% honest here, and please don't think I'm an asshole, but it was late at night and I didn't have time to watch it. I completely skipped over the Joan London induction, didn't watch any of it at all. Dana Warrior, I know, inducted her. So congrats to Joan London, happy for her, and always wish her the best in her battle with cancer and what she's gone through. But this Warrior Award induction is, is for publicity purposes, and I'm just on the fence on how I feel about it. Last but not least, the headliner, Sting. Pretty much what we would expect out of a Sting induction. Ric Flair told some really good stories. Ric Flair was the perfect guy to induct Sting. It should have been Ric Flair. He was the one that really got Sting on the map with that first world title feud all the way back in 1988. Sting's speech was great. I've always been a fan of his personally. I always thought he was a great guy. The closest thing he got to mentioning TNA was when he was talking about all of the different renditions of Sting we've seen over the years, and he was like, should I mention Joker Sting? Sure, I had a great time doing that. So that was just a little tiny tribute to the fact that he did work elsewhere other than WCW and WWE. And of course, at the very end, after he had to sit there and endure a lot of one more match chants from the fans and a lot of Undertaker chants from the fans, he saves the bombshell for the very end, which we kind of had a feeling was going to happen, and I guess he has officially retired from in-ring competition and made this announcement at the conclusion of his Hall of Fame speech, and there's no better platform to do it on. He's in his 50s, it's time to hang it up. I'm glad he was able to come into the WWE. It sucks that he never won a match there. I mean, that really sucks, but I'm glad he was finally able to get into WWE at the last minute in the nick of time before his career ended and got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, which is where he belongs. And so for that, I'm happy for him. It was a little bit interesting, though. He said, this is not goodbye, it's just see you later. And he put on the glasses and he had the baseball bat, so maybe, just maybe, he could make an appearance in that Hell in the Cell match. I mean, I doubt it. Why fool the fans? Why tell them you're going to retire in a very serious Hall of Fame speech? I mean, the fans, as soon as he said that, I got to hand it to them, too, because instead of acting like assholes, they immediately stood up. The entire audience rose right to their feet in unison and started clapping for him to show their appreciation for his career. And when I saw that, I was like, phew, thank God, because if they would have shit on it or booed him or said, please, one more match or anything like that, I would have almost been sad for Sting that the fans did that. So the fact that they showed him that much love restores my faith a little bit in how dumb the wrestling fans can be, so maybe they're not so bad all the time. And I highly doubt Sting would swerve us like that, although he did say one thing about Sting is that nothing's for sure, so maybe we could see him, but I doubt it. I think the retirement is legit. Hopefully he will continue to be a presence on WWE TV and guest appearances and whatnot, so I'm sure it's not the last time we've seen Sting, but it will be the last time we see him in the ring. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Congrats again to the entire 2016 WWE Hall of Fame class. I'm going to get some sleep because we got a big day ahead of us tomorrow, and I will not be leaving my house for the next 48 hours. Happy WrestleMania Sunday to all. I will be up here about 2 to 3 hours after WrestleMania goes off the air with my complete reaction to the pay-per-view and everything we saw, and from what we're hearing rumor-wise, we could see some pretty big things. And I'm wondering, it's starting to sound, by the way, like I mentioned last night in my NXT Dallas review, that Shane McMahon and The Undertaker will in fact close the show. At least that's what they're telling us. So if that's the case, you combine that with a rumor that some crazy big stunt is going to take place at WrestleMania as well. We might be in store for something pretty spectacular tonight at WrestleMania, so I'm intrigued by it. Let's sit back, buckle our seatbelts, and enjoy it together. I will catch you in a few hours. Until then, peace. What is up? GoodMicWork back at you. WrestleMania 32 is in the books. Oh man, seriously WWE? That's what you did? I'm fucking bummed, man. This was a really big letdown tonight. This show did not live up to expectations. Now, let me just start by saying that I'm not going to go over the top here. I'm not quote-unquote done with WWE for a while. I'm certainly not going to cancel my WWE network. I don't know if I'll go as far as to say this is the worst WrestleMania of all time. Maybe this might be the most disappointing WrestleMania of all time, because I can't believe some of the finishes that they had tonight. Had nothing to do with the talent. The boys and girls worked hard, as they always do for this show. They did everything they could do. But I guess just some of the booking decisions were a little bit baffling. And the show overall, I spent the whole time waiting for the big bomb to drop. I mean, the WWE had so much opportunity and potential ahead of them tonight. They had so many different possible storylines and angles and swerves and directional changes if they decided to go with Shane McMahon winning. I mean, there was a lot that could change for the better in the WWE landscape. We even saw the tease of that earlier on in the night with the beautiful unveiling of the new Women's Championship, and the Divas title is no more. So all things are really off to a good start as far as the momentum and the feel of the show goes. And then the way it ended and the way all the matches played out, I mean, all of them were pretty much a letdown in their own special way. They were all very good matches, and WrestleMania definitely had its moments. But overall, I'm bummed out that the WWE didn't do something. I mean, something fun. They had so many options of great, wonderful things that they could do, and they just went along with what they wanted regardless of what the fans thought. There are simply too many fans out there right now booing Roman Reigns that when the WWE ignores that blatantly the way they do, to me, it just made me think that they had something up their sleeve. To me, it made me think that they were doing it on purpose, and they were going to turn him heel or do something that would justify them ignoring, the fans not accepting this guy as the next poster boy. So I thought at least maybe WWE would meet us halfway. Okay, fine, the fans don't like Roman Reigns the way he is, but we want him to be WWE champion, so let's change him up a little bit, or let's do something with him or book him in such a way that the fans might not hate his guts, and they could turn him heel or do a number of things better than what they currently do. But they didn't. They didn't do anything. The only thing they really did in the match was the spear on Stephanie, which was awesome. She took a great spear, but other than that, what happened in the match that would really change your opinion of Roman Reigns? Before I start rambling on too much about the main event and some other aspects of WrestleMania, I don't want to get too disorganized here. Let's start going in order of the show. This was an incredibly long show. What was it in total, like 7 hours? I think the show went way over 4 hours. Plus, you had 2 hours on the pre-show. I mean, it was a long event and ordeal. Now, the kickoff show had 3 matches, not 4, as previously thought. The show started off with Kalisto versus Ryback for the U.S. title. Now, there were not many fans in the arena for this match yet. Apparently, they had all sorts of issues with letting the fans in the door. I guess their ticket scanning system had gone down, and thousands of fans were stuck outside. Some were able to get in. I guess maybe it was only in certain entrances they were having these problems, but the fans were really late getting into the arena, and apparently a lot of them were pissed off. So Kalisto and Ryback didn't have the opportunity to work in front of too many people, but as I predicted, and happily, Kalisto did wind up retaining. I thought that would have been a really strange way for him to lose the belt, the way he's kind of been on a roll, and the run he's been on since WWE is giving him the singles push to drop it to Ryback in front of virtually nobody in an empty arena. Really would have been a crummy way, I think, to end his title reign, so I'm glad that he was able to win. The finish saw him ripping off the middle turnbuckle pad. He ended up ramming Ryback's head into it and then nailed him with his finisher to score the win. So Kalisto retained, and I was happy about that. We had that ridiculous 10 Diva match up next, Total Divas versus Team Bad and Blonde. Total Divas did wind up winning. Brie, I think, tapped out Naomi. Nikki made an appearance after the match, came down in her neck brace to celebrate with Total Divas. It made me think that might have been it for Nikki. I don't know. She's supposed to be, been it for Brie. She's supposed to be wrapping it up soon and retiring from the ring. So I don't know if that was her last match now, if she'll have one more on Raw, or maybe she'll work another pay-per-view. I'm not sure. But from what we all hear, she should be out the door pretty soon. Lana did make her in-ring debut. Hell of an outfit she was wearing. Eva Marie, of course, got booed out of the building, and she performed a couple of decent spots and didn't fuck them up, and she looked like she enjoyed rubbing that in the fans' faces. After the match, Lita was the one that headed down to the ring to make this announcement. Now, it had broken, I think, the day before that WWE was going to be doing this. They were going to be rebranding the Divas division as the Women's division and getting rid of that ridiculous-looking belt and making a new belt. And Lita was in the ring to unveil the new WWE Women's Championship that will go to the winner of the triple threat match later on on between Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha. And she unveiled it to be just a smaller version of the WWE World Heavyweight title with, I think, a white strap instead of black, and it was a little bit more feminine looking, but it was an almost exact replica of the World Heavyweight title, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Some people were complaining, not me. I think that's the way the title should look. Moving on to the main card now. Now, the show did open with a match that we suspected it probably could, and that was the Intercontinental title ladder match. I cannot believe they put that belt on Zack Ryder. I thought for sure either Kevin Owens would retain or Sami Zayn would wind up winning that title because I think the two of them can have a great Intercontinental title feud. There were some amazing spots in that match. The splash by Kevin Owens with Zayn on the ladder when it was bridged on, I think, the second rope. That was awesome. Sami Zayn did a suicide dive through one of the big giant ladders onto the outside, onto all the participants. That was awesome. We had a couple of outfit tributes tonight as well on the show, the first of which was Stardust dressing in polka dots like his father. His ring attire was awesome, and then he even drug out a polka-dotted black ladder. How awesome was that? You talk about putting a smile on my face. That was, it's just one of those little WrestleMania things that you see that's just so great. And then the awesome spot, the half-and-half suplex that he nailed on Kevin Owens right on the ladder, and Owens just had his head stuck right in between the rungs on the ladder, and he was motionless on the mat. That's when The Miz gets all the way up to the top. You actually think The Miz is going to win this thing, and then out of nowhere, Zack scurries up the ladder, fast as lightning, shoves The Miz off, and grabs the Intercontinental title. I think the fans were surprised by that and a little bit disappointed. I mean, we all love Zack Ryder. We all thought he was treated like shit all those years ago, but we're pretty much over him at this point. I've never even been that big of a fan of his. I mean, I found him a little bit entertaining when he was getting over on the internet and everything, but still, he was never really one of my favorite guys. And I'm curious to see how long his reign will last. You got to think Owens is going to be pissed off. And by the way, Owens was fantastic, selling that suplex with his head stuck in the ladder all throughout Zack Ryder's celebration. And he just laid there completely motionless on the mat during the whole thing. You got to think he's going to be pissed off tomorrow night on Raw, demand a rematch either on Raw or at the next pay-per-view or something like that. So Zack could maybe just hold this belt for a tiny little while, or it could actually be a reign that they're going to run with. We'll have to wait and see. Jury's still out on that one. Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles is up next. I had high hopes for this match. This has been a pretty long-running feud now. This is the fourth battle between these two guys, and I knew they were going to do their best to tear the house down. They had a very, very good match tonight. Again, with the finish, baffled me. I'm surprised that Jericho picked up the win. I'm not upset about it in any way. I don't consider it a burial or anything like that, but, AJ, finally coming into the company like this, his first ever WrestleMania, you'd kind of hope he might win his first match. Kevin Owens went through the same thing the match before. Coming out for his first ever WrestleMania, the crowd popped for him hard too, and then both of them, that was their welcome to WWE. You're both going to lose. So again, not really the finish I wanted, but not something that I was freaking out about either. In yet another match that I predicted incorrectly, New Day taking on the League of Nations. Now, New Day had the first big entrance of the night, a gigantic box of Booty-O's up on the stage that was tipped over, and giant cereal was spread across the stage. They came out in the crazy outlandish outfits, had their entertaining entrance, and had their match with the League of Nations. The League of Nations did score the victory in an upset in this match. I was predicting the New Day, and then League of Nations decides to get on the mic, and you knew as soon as they picked up that microphone that somebody was going to be coming down there. And sure enough, they start bragging about what an unstoppable unit they are, and there's nobody in the history of the WWE that could ever stand toe-to-toe with them in a fight. And then out comes Shawn Michaels, and he comes out in his ring gear, and you're like, holy shit, is he going to actually work? And he looked great. He looked like he could pick up and wrestle a 5-star match tomorrow. He's out there, he's going to be joined by somebody. Mick Foley's music then hits. He comes out there in full Cactus Jack attire, and you got to have at least one more guy come out there, and you knew Stone Cold was there. Likely it was going to be him. The glass shattered. The fans went nuts. Stone Cold, Mick Foley, and Shawn Michaels are all there, and they're ready to fight. It's not some silly appearance. They're actually going to get physical. I actually thought there might be a fourth guy because there's 4 League of Nations members, and we've heard about the Goldberg rumors and the Kurt Angles and guys like that, so I was really hoping there would be a fourth man. But there wasn't. Just turned out to be the 3 of them, which is fine. They went in there and kicked the shit out of the League of Nations members, and they celebrated together, and it was a great mark-out moment. I was giddy as a schoolgirl, especially when Austin actually danced with the New Day, and then, of course, you knew that wasn't going to last very long, and he nailed Xavier with a stunner. So I think we can get used to seeing these type of segments at WrestleMania every year, and this one was very entertaining, and it's always good to see those legends, and especially those legends, get physical and actually fight in the ring. And Shawn, I just can't get over how good he looked. And in another match that I predicted incorrectly, and quite the letdown of a match as well, Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose, I thought this match was going to steal the show. I thought if given enough time and WWE put some effort and creativity into this match, they could have a lot of fun, and it would be a great way to give Dean Ambrose a good, solid victory over a major opponent to really help his stock rise. And given the fact that it's no holds barred and all of that shit, you can easily find a way for Dean to win to where it won't hurt Brock's credibility all that bad. Probably won't hurt it at all if Dean does something really crazy to defeat Brock, where it was just kind of a fluke type of thing. But no, they went in there and had a very brutal, very hard-hitting match, and a relatively decent match as well, but didn't last very long and didn't even really go outside of the ring. I thought they were going to be all through the crowd. I thought they were going to be in the backstage area. I thought they were going to be everywhere. They barely left ringside. Lots of German suplexes, of course, and lots of steel chairs. He pulled out the chainsaw but never turned it on. There was some kendo sticks and a couple of other things, but really, the match was kind of not what we expected, did not live up to what we were hoping it would be. And Brock Lesnar eventually got the best of Dean Ambrose and nailed him with enough F5s and German suplexes to pin him, and that was that. Brock Lesnar won. Again, it's not something that I can necessarily complain about because I'm a big Brock Lesnar fan. They're paying him a ton of money, a lot more than they're paying Dean Ambrose, so it's an investment of theirs that I guess they want to protect, and he's just not going to lose right now. And I understand that. Brock's awesome. When you think about it, it's a match Brock should win. I mean, he's better than Dean. He's bigger than Dean, stronger, tougher, all of that. That wouldn't be a match that Dean would win anyway. I just thought they could find a way to give Dean the victory, and it would help him. But they chose not to. Brock wins, and that's that. I just wish they would have done a little bit more in the match. In a match that I actually predicted right, the triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship, as it is now called, champion Charlotte defending against Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. I loved this match. These girls arguably had the best match of the night. And the entrances, oh my god, Snoop coming out and rapping his cousin Sasha down to the ring, that was fucking great. I thought between all of that she might actually win the Divas title. It would have been a great moment for her. She even had a tribute to Eddie Guerrero with her wrestling attire, with her tights and her boots, as if I wasn't in love with her enough. Charlotte looked great as well. She came out wearing a rendition of Ric Flair's robe. I think they even said it was made from pieces of the robe that he wore, I think, in his final match or something like that. So she looked amazing. And then they got in there in the ring together, and the three of them tore the house down. Great fucking match. We had frog splashes, we had suicide dives, we had Charlotte climbing to the top rope and doing a moonsault on the outside of the ring. WWE gave those girls time to work. The fans enjoyed the ride. They were chanting, "This is awesome." Charlotte finally taps out Becky Lynch, retaining the Divas title that is now called the Women's title, and the belt looks great, and it looks great on Charlotte. There's still plenty of time in the future to give it to Sasha or Becky or whatever you want to do, but I think Charlotte winning was probably the best choice. I mean, she's been champion for a while. WWE loves her and the Flair's legacy, and if they're going to rebrand a champion, they probably do want her to be the first one to hold it, so she can hold that belt for a little while as we get used to it, and eventually she'll wind up dropping it to Sasha. She will. Undertaker versus Shane McMahon, Hell in the Cell. Well, what the fuck was the point of having Shane come back and say, if I win, I want control of Monday Night Raw, and them have this big stipulation, and then he just loses? Now what? Where the hell do you go from here? We never even saw Vince McMahon tonight. He was a big part of all of this. Why didn't he make an appearance in anything? This was one of the matches that I said in my predictions and all my build-up commentaries to WrestleMania, is that I want this match and the main event to somehow tie in together. There's too many connections here. Shane is coming back trying to overthrow the McMahons. Triple H is one of those McMahons, of course. The fans are shitting over the WWE's next chosen one, Roman Reigns. They're confused why Shane McMahon is even wrestling The Undertaker to begin with, and is Taker a face, is Taker a heel? What's his connection to Vince McMahon? How is all of this going to be explained? Surely we'll get all of our answers at WrestleMania, but no, we got no answers. Shane McMahon went out there and had his Hell in the Cell match with The Undertaker. It was a very good match. It had some holy shit moments, and it had one really, really crazy holy shit moment. What the hell is wrong with Shane McMahon? That cell is a hell of a lot higher than it was when Mick Foley dove off of it. I dare say it's twice as high. He climbs all the way up there and does an elbow drop on The Undertaker, who's on the announce table, and it had to have been at least 20 legit feet down. Now, the table looked like, thank God, it was gimmicked a little bit with some cushioning underneath, but still, Shane could have died. You know, that's just an unbelievable. And his kids were in the fucking front row. What about his entrance? He came out with his 3 sons, and they were all dancing around, and then he put them right there in the front row with his wife to watch their father potentially get executed. And he climbs up there, and man, that son of a bitch is fucking crazy. My heart was beating out of my chest because I'm like, this is live. We're all watching this together. I mean, we could be watching a man's death right here. And when he dove off, it was like, you know, my heart skipped a beat. As soon as he hit the ground, I was just looking for something to move, and as soon as it did, I'm like, all right, he's fine. He's fucking fine. The crazy bastard's probably going to get up and fight some more, and he did. He wasn't able to recover from that, though, didn't really have any offense after that, and Undertaker tombstoned him and pinned him and won the match. So what does this mean now for Shane McMahon and the future of this storyline? Is Shane going to wiggle his way into another opportunity at getting control of Monday Night Raw? Is this going to lead to the brand split? If he's going to say, fine, if I can't have Monday Night Raw, I'm going to create my own brand? Maybe gets a bunch of NXT guys on his side and they try to take over SmackDown or something like that. I can't imagine this is all we're going to see of Shane McMahon. Maybe he'll be off TV for a little while and make a return later on, and they'll pick the storyline back up in the summer for SummerSlam, but still, at the end of the day, though, I guess I'm glad. I didn't want Undertaker to lose, and I didn't want this to be his last match unless it was advertised as that. I'm ready for Taker to retire, and I want him to have that send-off. You got to think it's got to be next year. We keep saying that every year, but you know, obviously he won tonight, so he lives to fight another day, so he's going to have to hang it up at some point. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which we all thought was going to be on the pre-show, turns out to go on second to last. And it wasn't very good either. We were all hoping for a returning star like Cesaro or something like that, but the guy that we got and the big surprise that we had in this Battle Royal was Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal was actually an entrant in this Battle Royal, and guess who he's going to have a confrontation with? The Big Show. Of course, the Big Show. Big Show is always the guy that works with outsiders, right? These two guys were rumored to were supposed to have a WrestleMania match a couple of years ago, if I remember right. And given the fact that WrestleMania 33 is in Orlando next year, where Shaquille O'Neal began his NBA career, I could see him going into the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 33. And when you looked at the field and when you looked at everybody in there, the only guy that made any sense was Baron Corbin. You know, maybe Mark Henry, since he's been rumored to be hanging him up pretty soon as well, but still, why Mark Henry? So seeing Baron Corbin in there, he was a type of guy that I predicted. I said somebody from NXT, like a Samoa Joe, would be a good option to win this match. I think I predicted Bray Wyatt. He wasn't even in the fucking Battle Royal. And I tweeted about midway through the match that Baron Corbin should be the last one in there with Kane, and he should dump Kane out. And that's the finish that happened. So another match predicted incorrectly, another match that was kind of disappointing, but at least they saved it with a acceptable person winning it. I mean, at least they gave it to a new guy. I guess this might mean he's going to be on the main roster now or very soon. So that is the good news coming out of this, but the Battle Royal was it just wasn't that entertaining. And what was probably my favorite segment of the night, other than the women's match, was finally we got our answer as to what The Rock was going to be doing. Now, as the show went on and we got later and later, I felt what The Rock was going to be doing would be more significant and more significant. I thought we would see him in the main event, but he finally came out to cut his promo. The Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders made an appearance to help him down to the ring. He gets in there to announce the attendance for the show. I think it was 101,700, something like that. So, you know, I guess we'll never know if that's the legit number. It definitely looked like a packed house. I mean, that crowd, those crowd shots that they were doing were amazing. It definitely looked like 100,000 to me. I hope that number is legit. So The Rock was out there to announce that, and then the Wyatt family interrupts. I was just tweeting about them mere minutes before. I'm like, we haven't seen the Wyatt family yet. We were wondering if they could make an appearance or do a run-in in the main event, but they come out there to interrupt The Rock. And when they were coming down to the ring, my mind was turning. I'm like, okay, The Rock is going to probably insult them, probably have some really funny things to say about how weird the Wyatt family is. And I said to myself, I bet you if John Cena is going to make any appearance at all at WrestleMania, this will be the appearance he makes. I predicted this a couple of months ago, that if John Cena could not work WrestleMania, he would probably be involved in a segment with someone like The Rock. So first, The Rock decides to surprise all of us, and that probably was the biggest surprise of the night, that The Rock technically worked a match at WrestleMania. He said, we're not going to have a fight, we're going to have a match. I challenge any of you to a match right now, rips his pants off Chippendale style to reveal his wrestling gear. And it was rumored that he couldn't work any matches because he's shooting a movie right now, and insurance reasons, if he were to get hurt, it would really fuck everything up. So that's why his match was 6 seconds long. Ended up rock-bottoming Eric Rowan immediately and pinning him, so The Rock really didn't have to do too much. The Wyatt family then after that surrounds the ring, and that's when you knew somebody's music was going to hit. And sure enough, John Cena returns, looks healthy, looks healed, looks ready to go, comes out there and helps The Rock kick the shit out of the Wyatt family. John Cena looks like he's back. The Rock and him have the nice moment. They celebrate together. The fans probably really didn't like this, but I did. You know, I know The Rock and John Cena feud didn't end that well, and WrestleMania 29 was a complete disaster, but still, seeing these guys together and, you know, I guess in a more lighthearted segment and celebrating together, for me, just an old school wrestling fan, still puts a smile on my face, even though it makes other fans puke. I liked it. And how about that Wyatt family? They continue to be booked magnificently, don't they? And finally, we're on to the main event. I mentioned the main event earlier on, but just to elaborate on it, I do have to say this was my favorite Triple H entrance of all time. How awesome was Stephanie? Her introduction of Triple H was turning me on, literally. I loved it. And the match, too. You know, here's the thing. The match, when you look at the match and forget about all the bullshit surrounding it, the match was good. But all of that goes unnoticed when your fans are so desperately wanting you to do something and surprise us or swerve us or shock us or something. We got none of that at WrestleMania. Not one thing really surprised us. It was a surprise to see The Rock wrestle. It was a surprise to see John Cena return. It was a surprise to see Stone Cold and Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels out there. But as far as the main storyline goes, and the main storylines in the WWE goes, we didn't see anything that shocked us or took us in a different direction at all. And I probably mentioned it over 100 times that WWE simply cannot have Roman Reigns win clean in the main event of WrestleMania and have 100,000 fans booing that outcome. WWE would be crazy to allow something like that to happen. Well, I guess they're fucking crazy because that's exactly what they allowed to happen. I mean, come on. You couldn't give us something. I mean, at least have some sort of a storyline swerve or angle. I mean, at least have Shane win. That way we have that to look forward to. Maybe Shane and a new regime of Monday Night Raw will make for great TV, but we don't even have that. So what the hell's going to happen tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw? The Post-Mania Monday Night Raws can be very history-making in recent years. So let's hope that big things happen on Raw, and all of this anger that we feel towards WrestleMania will be partially rectified after Monday night. But right now, I do not give this WrestleMania very high marks. I mean, it's a fun weekend. I had a blast all week long, talking to you guys on social media and reacting in YouTube videos to everything that was going on, the NXT Dallas show and the Hall of Fame, and now WrestleMania, and tomorrow night, after Monday Night Raw, I'll be up here as well. I enjoy the overall experience of WrestleMania every year, regardless of whether or not the show was good. I definitely wish we could have gotten a better show tonight. I definitely wish we could have gotten a few more things that we were expecting. This seemed like a regular old show. When you look at the booking and how everything was written, it was really no better than any pay-per-view could be at any time of the year. So WWE's trend of giving us good WrestleManias for the past 2 years unfortunately did not continue. This one might rank up there with WrestleMania 29 as far as how we feel about it. But we're all adults, and you got to realize WWE's not going to hit home runs all the time. They definitely dropped the ball tonight, definitely could have been better. But a WrestleMania like this isn't going to stop me from watching professional wrestling, so you will get none of that I'm done with WWE bullshit coming out of my mouth. I'll tune in to Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. I'll drink a couple of beers and I'll have a good time, and I'll review it. So leave me all your comments about WrestleMania below. I'm expecting them to be very, very unpleasant. Have at it, bitch all you want, go crazy. Just keep your shit respectful and don't be assholes, and I won't remove any comments. Fire away. I will catch you tomorrow night after Monday Night Raw. Until then, peace. What is up? GoodMicWork back at you. That is a wrap on WrestleMania 32 weekend. The post-WrestleMania Monday Night Raw is in the books. I'm up here to talk about that and review the show, and also give some closing thoughts on the entire WrestleMania experience and show and reaction and opinions and things like that. First of all, let me just start off by saying that I thought it was a great week. I mean, WrestleMania, despite what happened to the show and despite your opinion on it, the entire experience of WrestleMania for me has become very fun. I enjoyed kind of shutting myself in for 48 hours and experiencing everything WrestleMania was about, interacting with all of you, getting up 4 or 5 videos in a matter of days, and just having a lot of fun with what essentially is wrestling fans' Christmas. And when I go back and look at the show, I felt like I was very fair in my results and reaction video. I did my fair share of criticizing the show, but I also acknowledged that all the talent worked very hard. The quality of the matches were very good. I went back and watched that ladder match again last night. Oh my God, I mean, that was one of the best ladder matches I've ever seen. I mean, all of those great spots that they did, nothing was even botched. When you get a half a dozen guys in one match, it can really easily take the clusterfuck direction, and those guys really held it together. That was a great ladder match. And that pretty much held true with every match. I mean, regardless of who won or lost, every match was very solid. Even the main event was very good. The problem was we got the outcome that we really didn't want, and we didn't get the outcome in a lot of matches that we wanted. At the end of the day, for me, I truly do not give a rat's ass who wins and who loses. I was more concerned with the storyline progression and some of the underwhelming things that happened at WrestleMania that I felt didn't have any future as far as a storyline goes. I was disappointed that Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose didn't do more. To me, I thought that was such an opportunity for Dean Ambrose to really get on the map. Not even the fact that he lost. He could have even still lost, and I would have been okay with it if maybe he just took Brock to a little bit further of a limit. And considering the fact the match was no holds barred, I thought Dean could get creative. I mean, remember when Macho Man tied up Crush at WrestleMania 10 and hung him from the ceiling? I was expecting Dean to do something like that, where he's able to actually beat Brock Lesnar somehow. Brock can maintain his credibility as a tough guy, and now Dean Ambrose is a major player on their roster. I really thought that was their chance. So Dean losing kind of sucked. I would have just been more okay with it, I guess, if he would have, I don't know, bloodied up Brock Lesnar or something like that. I mean, I wanted Dean to get nuts. I mentioned on Twitter that I wanted him to duct tape Brock's fucking head to the ring post and start shredding him with that barbed wire baseball bat. I wanted to see blood, I wanted to see guts, I wanted to see eyeballs hanging out. Shout out to Vader. I felt that Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker was a little bit strange, considering that Shane wound up losing in the end, and you kind of wondered what was the point of the whole thing, and maybe the point of the whole thing was just to give The Undertaker a significant match to participate in at WrestleMania, especially if it turns out to be his final WrestleMania. It damn sure will be a memorable one. Shane made sure of that. That spot still blows my mind. What a long drop that was for him to perform. A guy at his age even. It's not like he's 22 doing this shit. He's a middle-aged man, and that was insanity. Kudos to Shane for even attempting something like that. He didn't need to put his body on the line like that to entertain all of us, but he did anyway. The boss's son certainly never had anything handed to him. This guy is willing to work for it, and I respect the hell out of Shane McMahon for taking that bump. So really my overall opinion on WrestleMania was that, yes, I was disappointed a little bit with the show. I expected more. I wanted more. I think WWE is more caught up in the whole production of WrestleMania. To them, it's all about the spectacle. It's all about the event. It's all about the huge mega production that WrestleMania has become. And it almost seems like the matches and the storylines are now secondary. People are going to flock to this WrestleMania no matter what. When you look at this WrestleMania on paper, it was not a very strong card, but they still drew 101,000 fans. So fans are clearly there to see the WWE, not the individual matches. That's the way it's been for the last, 15, maybe even 20 years now. So the best we can hope for is that we get a good show, and I think in a lot of ways we did. I just think if the WWE gave me or any of you the opportunity to book this WrestleMania, we may have done it just a little bit different. So that, I think, is a very, very fair assessment and opinion of WrestleMania 32. I expressed pretty much those same thoughts, I think, in my reaction video. I got a few more dislikes than normal. I never care about likes and dislikes at all. I generally only average about 2 to 10 dislikes per video. This one has about, 75 or 80 on it. I don't know what I said that would be considered unfair. The views are off the hook on that video, too. I think I got 70,000 in the first 10 hours. Jesus, man. WWE's going to do what they're going to do. We've known this for a long time. It's not like we're just discovering this now. Okay, I'm going to be done with WWE for a while. Everybody's been saying that ever since John Cena's been winning titles, for the past 6-7 years. We've grown accustomed to the WWE disappointing us. I was hoping they would come through a little bit better this year at WrestleMania because 30 and 31 were great. I don't feel like 32 lived up. I mean, it really didn't. But still, I'm a wrestling fan, and at the end of the day, WrestleMania time and WrestleMania season is fun, and I can't wait for it to come around again next year. I'll tell you, man, I'm really tempted to hop on a plane and head to Orlando next year. It looked like a lot of fun. All the fan pictures that were coming to me from Twitter and all of you that listen to me that attended WrestleMania, I was getting a lot of access updates and photos and shit like that. It looks like a lot of fun. I haven't been to a WrestleMania since WrestleMania 15, so I've missed out on this great experience of WrestleMania week. And maybe, just maybe, I can go next year. It would be nice to maybe meet and interact with some of you. I know some other fellow YouTubers, some bigger ones out there, attended some wrestling conventions and stuff like that. I might be interested in being a part of that in the future. Problem is, next year I have a Hawaiian vacation booked a week before WrestleMania, so that's the only thing. It might be tough for me to go to Hawaii and then all the way to Orlando the following week. But one of these years for sure, I think GoodMicWork's going to have to make a trip to WrestleMania. Let's get into Monday Night Raw now. I had high hopes for this show. I was really hoping WWE would bounce back, and anything about WrestleMania 32 that may have disappointed us, maybe we would get a little bit of redemption tonight on Monday Night Raw. And we did. I thought tonight's Raw was good. It was really good. We knew the crowd was going to be nuts, and they were. They were that typical post-WrestleMania Monday Night Raw crowd. They were a lot of fun and very entertaining. The show opens up with Vince McMahon. We never saw him last night. He comes out on the stage and starts cutting a promo about WrestleMania, about the attendance record, about the match with Shane McMahon and The Undertaker, and then Shane interrupts him and hobbles out to the stage. And he comes out to basically congratulate his father on winning the battle between the two, and he came out to say goodbye to all of the fans and to thank them for all of their support. And then Vince kind of playing off how crazy the crowd is. He's like, you know what? This is always a crazy night every single year. You fans are completely bonkers and you confuse the hell out of me. So you know what? Fuck it. Why not? I'll let Shane run Monday Night Raw for tonight only. The crowd pops and Vince McMahon leaves. So after all of that, after that match with The Undertaker in the Hell in the Cell, Shane almost killing himself for control of Monday Night Raw, the very next night, Vince is like, what the fuck, take over, who cares? What the shit is that? I was a little bit confused, but I thought it was awesome that Shane McMahon, technically kayfabe, is going to be running Monday Night Raw. So that right there told me you were going to get some fan-friendly decisions. The first matchup was a match for the Tag Team Championships, the New Day defending against the League of Nations, Wade Barrett and Sheamus. Now, New Day retained by hitting and pinning Wade Barrett with their finisher, and after the match, you could kind of smell it coming. Sheamus gets on the mic, and Barrett has been rumored to be leaving the WWE. He's been jobbing a lot, of course, and Sheamus gets on the mic and says, "You're only as good as your weakest link." Rusev and Del Rio pick up Barrett and hold him, and Sheamus nails him with the Brogue Kick, kicking him out of the group and possibly the WWE. And then in a really strange turn of events, the Wyatts music hit, and they come out to the ring. Why the hell are the Wyatts attacking and antagonizing the League of Nations? They get in there and attack them and beat the hell out of them, and then Bray nails Sheamus with Sister Abigail. And the Wyatts got a huge pop from the crowd. I don't know what the point of that was. I don't know if this means the Wyatts are babyfaces now. I was glad to see them get back on track after last night, after their interaction with The Rock and John Cena. A lot of fans were pissed off about that too. You know, I can understand that. The fans, of course, love Bray Wyatt and they hate John Cena and they don't want to see the Wyatts, quote-unquote, get buried. But I don't necessarily think they got buried. They were in a WrestleMania segment with The fucking Rock and John Cena. Eric Rowan, technically in the record books, faced The Rock at WrestleMania. I don't care if your match is 6 seconds, 4 seconds, 1 second, whatever. That's an honor. And I don't even know if I mentioned last night, but The Rock gave props to Bray Wyatt. I mean, that's pretty awesome, too. I mean, The Rock and all of his funniness and all of his goofiness, you knew he was going to make fun of the Wyatts and have some pretty hilarious insults for those guys. But at the same time, for Rock to kind of say it to him straight and say, I think you're a hell of a talent, you have all the tools, you can be huge in this business. I mean, that's a pretty big compliment. And that's a pretty big endorsement from arguably the most successful professional wrestler this business has ever seen. So any decline in the Wyatts' position on the roster has been going on for a lot longer than this. I didn't have any problem at all with the Rock and John Cena segment, but I can definitely see how some fans did. The Wyatts were back on Raw, stronger than ever. They beat the holy hell out of the League of Nations, and the fans cheered them. So I don't know what this means. I don't know if the Wyatts are going to start attacking everybody or if they just turn babyface. It is possible. I mean, a babyface Wyatt group, why not? And after that, we had our first debut of the night. We knew we were going to have somebody coming up from the NXT roster or possibly a return. We had a little bit of both. First guy up was Apollo Crews. He's been moved up to the main roster now, and he was going to be taking on Tyler Breeze, pretty much a squash. I've seen Apollo Crews a couple of times in NXT, and watching him tonight on Raw, he's an amazing athlete. I've always liked what I've seen out of him. Some people were surprised that he's up on the main roster before some other people in NXT, but there's nothing we can do about that. All we can do is root for the kid. Roman Reigns came out next, new WWE champion, comes down to the ring and cuts a pretty feisty promo. Says that he's not a good guy, he's not a bad guy, he is the guy. I like that. Says he was finally able to overcome the big obstacle of the Authority and he's not scared of anybody, and if there's anybody back there that wants to try to take this title from him, feel free to come out and challenge him. That's when we had Chris Jericho show up, and then we had AJ Styles show up, and then we had Kevin Owens show up, and then we had Sami Zayn show up. So here's a whole bunch of guys, some new opponents for Roman Reigns. Owens and Zayn start brawling with each other. They wind up making it a 4-way match in the main event for the #1 contender spot at the next pay-per-view. I believe it's going to be Payback or Extreme Rules. I think it's Payback. So I guess the winner of this match will face Roman Reigns for the WWE title, and it's a very interesting 4 guys. I don't think too many people wanted to see Jericho, but as far as the other 3 go, we were fine with any outcome. So we'll talk about that match here in a little bit when we get to the main event. Up next, we had another NXT call-up. Of course, we saw this guy the night before at WrestleMania. He won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Baron Corbin was going to be taking on Dolph Ziggler. And I like the match because they didn't do the obvious thing, which is what we thought. When you heard Dolph Ziggler's music hit, you're thinking to yourself, oh great, Ziggler's just going to come out there and make Baron Corbin look awesome, and he's going to take the loss. But they did a double countout. They wind up brawling all out into the audience, and then Baron Corbin gets pissed off and assaults Dolph Ziggler some more. Just basically asserting himself as a don't fuck with me type guy. He's very brash, he's got an attitude, he's tough, he's physical, and he's fearless, and I like him. So I can only hope for good things for Baron Corbin, and I hope he doesn't turn out to be a 5th member of the Social Outcasts one day. Pretty good finisher, too. He hit that end of days thing on Ziggler on the outside on the floor there. That looked pretty sick. Good luck to you, big fella. We had another title match. Intercontinental title was on the line. New champion Zack Ryder, who just won the title last night in that great ladder match at WrestleMania, is defending against The Miz. Zack Ryder's father is in the front row. There was the tearful celebration with the two of them last night after Zack's victory. And during the match, The Miz goes out there to taunt him and winds up slapping Zack's dad. He gets pissed and shoves The Miz down. Zack's dad looks like a pretty jacked guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he could take The Miz in a legit fight. That prompts Maurice, who I guess is also at ringside. She jumps over the barricade and she comes down to confront Zack Ryder's dad. That causes a distraction, and The Miz is able to roll up Zack Ryder and win the Intercontinental title. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm just kidding. The Miz is not that bad. He is a great heel. I don't know what the hell he was wearing, what kind of silly-ass outfit you would call that thing. If his character is supposed to be a douchebag, then gosh darn it, The Miz went out there and was the best douchebag he could be. So congrats to The Miz, I guess. After that, we had a promo for another NXT call-up that will be taking place on SmackDown. This time it's the Vaudevillains tag team. They're going to be making their debut on the main roster on SmackDown in a couple of days. So some interesting choices, to say the least, for this recent batch of call-ups. Next up, we had another Women's Championship title presentation. Lita is out there again with the new Women's Championship belt that they unveiled last night at WrestleMania. Tonight on Raw, they're going to officially present it to Charlotte, even though she was already the champion and she won the belt last night. They still have to go through all this, and is it just me, or has Charlotte been in an awful lot of these situations? I don't know how many times she's gone out there and had to give some emotional speech. This is like the 4th time we've seen this. So she's out there, and in great heel fashion, she starts going on and being very cocky and being very arrogant and being very insulting. The divas are standing there. Some of the reactions were priceless. Did you see Paige just chilling on the fucking rope? It was hilarious. Finally, they all just start walking out of the ring. Natty is the one that actually confronts Charlotte, and she's really pissed. It looks like they might be starting a feud between these ladies. They've had some matches in NXT, some classic matches, so if they're going to work for the Women's Championship next, I'm totally fine with that. Apparently, we're also getting a new tag team debuting soon. The Colognes are being repackaged again. This time, they're called, I think, Greetings from Puerto Rico or something like that. It's basically the exact same vignettes that Carlito did 10 years ago before he came into the WWE. And there's been Carlito rumors floating around for the last year or so. So maybe we could see a Carlito return to the company. Maybe he could be a manager, or maybe they could be another 3-man team. Now that Wade Barrett might be out of the picture, you got the League of Nations as a 3-man team. You got the Wyatts as a 3-man team. You have the New Day, and maybe you could now have the Colognes. That would be fun. I don't know where this leaves poor little El Torito. I have no idea. Maybe they put him on a little canoe and sent him off the shore in Puerto Rico back to the U.S. Who knows? We had the Usos versus the Dudley Boys again. WrestleMania rematch. This time a tables match. The Dudleys won. This time there was a ring bell botch. I think they only put one Uso through the table and then they rang the bell. It's supposed to be both of them. Bubba got really pissed and threw the other Uso through the other table, and he's like, now you can ring the bell, you dumbass. That was great. My advice to anybody involved in wrestling, don't be botching with Bubba around. I think we go to a commercial break or some sort of WWE-related commercial or something like that. We come back, and the Dudley Boys are still out there giving shit to the fans. So immediately, people on Twitter start saying to themselves, uh-oh, here it comes. We've been expecting it, we've been expecting it, we've been expecting it. Fans have been calling for it for months. The debut of Enzo and Cass finally on the WWE main roster on Raw, and a pretty damn successful debut at that. I joke a little bit on Twitter that I just don't fucking get these guys, and I don't know what the hell. I don't even know how to describe someone like Enzo. That spazzy little shit, he cracks me up. I mean, he's incredibly entertaining as hell, and the crowd just sings along with them with the whole ordeal that they do. Big Cass is very impressive. He's 7 feet tall, looks great, and I'm sure we'll get opportunities out the ass. This is a very, very overact with the audience. They love it. One can only hope that the WWE does not fuck this up. But I gotta hand it to Enzo and Cass, especially Enzo. I mean, he was flawless on that mic. Didn't look nervous at all. Monday Night Raw seems to fit this guy like a glove. And I'm hoping for the success of these two guys as well. We cut backstage next to a surprising segment. We had an injury angle. Sami Zayn is doing an interview and he's attacked by Kevin Owens and he's put through a table, essentially knocking him out of the four-way #1 contender match. So that had the fans' brains moving a million miles an hour. Holy shit, who's it going to be? But more importantly, why was this angle run? Is Sami Zayn legitimately hurt? Some people have told me that he was. I really, really, really hope not. And if he is hurt, I hope it's something minor that he can come back from quickly. He's already missed too much time. And I'm really hoping that if they ran that angle to get him off TV for a while, that it's not too serious. So I started speculating with a lot of fans on Twitter, who's it going to be? And a lot of people were thinking John Cena, but I was like, no way. John Cena, I'm not even sure is 100% healthy. I think maybe he was just healthy enough to do that segment with The Rock last night, and he might be off TV for maybe a little bit while longer until he comes back. And then on top of that, Shane McMahon is technically running Raw tonight. So Shane wouldn't do the fans like that, especially a post-WrestleMania Monday Night Raw audience. He's not going to give them John Cena. He knows better than that. So you knew whoever the WWE picked had to be somebody that Shane would pick, right? To please the fans. And Cesaro has been rumored to be coming back at any time. I was thinking Cesaro. I was thinking Brock. I mean, he did beat the hell out of Dean Ambrose. Even The Undertaker's name was thrown out there. Randy Orton could be back at any time. Seth Rollins as well, but I don't think he's healthy enough yet. No need to rush knee surgery like that. That's a pretty big injury, and I don't expect to see him until the summer. So finally, after they announced the first 3 guys, the sirens hit, and it does turn out to be Cesaro. He comes out there in a suit, and reminiscent of what The Rock did last night, he just tears the fucking thing off Chippendale style, just wearing his little tighty-whities and his wrestling boots, and he's ready to rock and roll. The match is pretty damn good, too. I mean, we were thinking it was great no matter who won this thing, as long as it wasn't Jericho. Nobody really wanted to see Jericho win it. I was kind of thinking it would be Kevin Owens, because I thought Roman Reigns would probably need to start beating some people on pay-per-views. I expect Roman Reigns to have some sort of a lengthy title run here. I mean, the title has been flopped back and forth a lot since Survivor Series, or since Seth had to cough it up. So it seems like whoever the champion is now, they might just want to stay that course for a little while. They've invested all this in Roman Reigns, whether the fans like it or not. WWE is going to do it, and I can kind of conceivably see him holding this thing until SummerSlam. So I'm thinking he's going to get some heels to beat first, and Kevin Owens would be a good guy to throw in and thrust into the main event spotlight. Even if he loses, no big deal. He's working with the world champ in the main event of a pay-per-view. Nothing to complain about. Roman can beat him, and then maybe beat him again in Extreme Rules, and then Roman can beat someone else, and then he can set up his big SummerSlam opponent, whoever that turns out to be. But in a delightful surprise, the guy that wins is AJ Styles. Hits Chris Jericho with the Styles Clash and pins him and becomes the #1 contender. It's going to be AJ versus Roman Reigns. That's pretty fucking amazing. So I guess that's WWE's way of trying to make up for the fact that some fans were pissed off with last night's WrestleMania, so they tried to give them an internet-friendly guy as the next #1 contender. But, right now, just hours after Raw goes off the air and looking forward to the next pay-per-view, I don't see Styles winning the title. I mean, unless this Shane McMahon storyline continues and he starts to get really crazy, I think WWE's capable of anything. But putting the belt on AJ, that would be a pretty big deal. I mean, for the WWE to do something like that, this guy just spent the last 15 years in TNA. And to put the belt on him 2 months after he gets there, holy shit. So I personally have a feeling that his match with Roman Reigns will resemble the match that Roman Reigns had with Daniel Bryan at Fastlane last year. I think it's going to be a really good match. I think AJ is a good opponent for Roman Reigns because the match can be good. And if the fans aren't accepting Roman Reigns, at least if he's having good matches, he can sleep easy at night knowing that. because the WWE is kind of booking him like ass. He's not that great on the mic, so if his match quality is good, the fans essentially can fuck themselves in Roman Reigns' eyes. So putting AJ in there with him, I think, can give us a very entertaining match. I mean, AJ is so incredibly athletic, and the things he's going to be able to do and the bumps he's going to be able to take for Roman Reigns should be a lot of fun. I suppose maybe, just maybe, he could pull off the upset and win the WWE title. I think it's highly unlikely. I say Roman Reigns beats him. Unless, of course, they are planning a big swerve at Payback. This, I think, is something they should have done at WrestleMania, but if they put AJ as the number one contender and let's say, the Bullet Club guys interfere, maybe Shane McMahon has something to do with that too, and they wind up helping AJ Styles win the WWE title. That would be a pretty huge moment, to say the least. I'm sure the internet would literally explode if that happened. But unfortunately, doing something like that would be a lot of fun, and WWE sometimes seems like they don't like fun. So we'll see how the build goes between the two. It's pretty much a babyface match unless Reigns decides to get vicious, which I think he might. WWE seems, in this case, that they're purposely putting Roman Reigns in a position where he's going to be booed louder than normal, because he's already booed as it is. Now he's going to be taking on this guy that's so beloved with all the type of fans that like to boo Roman Reigns. I mean, he's going to get booed 10 times harder in his match with AJ at Payback. So you got to wonder if WWE is just fucking stupid or if they know what they're doing and they got a plan for all of this. Hopefully this will be a good feud. Hopefully we'll come out on the other end of it appreciating it. And if and when Roman Reigns does wind up winning, just don't call it a burial or anything. Don't be ridiculous. See what they can do out there. Give him a chance. If AJ winds up taking Roman Reigns to the absolute limit and just barely loses the WWE title, that's not a burial. If anything, that's a vote of confidence and a sign of appreciation and trust they have in AJ Styles. An outsider that's just coming in that the WWE barely knows. To put him in those positions, that's a pretty giant endorsement from the WWE to even do that. So anyway, that is it for me. I'll tell you what, it's been a fun last few days. If you don't mind, I'm going to take a week-long nap. I will be up here next week after Monday Night Raw. My 6-year anniversary is coming up. I'm planning just a little tiny side video that you'll get on that day. But other than that, that will be the next time you hear from me will be a week from now. I'm going to get some rest. WrestleMania knocked me dead. Say what you want about the show. I still had fun. I will talk to you guys in about a week. Until then, peace.